大家晚上好啊！欢迎收看2019年亚洲冬季系列赛的现场直播。我们现在是在国际汽联认证的一级赛道，也是曾经的 F1马来西亚大奖赛的举办地雪邦国际赛车场，为您进行亚洲冬季系列赛第2站马来站的现场直播。那么今天我们发车的前3位可以都是说是赫赫有名的车手。第一位是头位发车的是21号来自荷兰的小将里努斯维凯，他是连续拿下了今天的第1场比赛以及明天的最后一回合比赛的杆位。那么在第2位的是备受关注的中国小将叶一飞，他连续2场排位赛都是以仅仅是不到0.2秒的差距排在维凯之后获得第2位。同时呢，在今天早上的自由练习中，他也是以1分59秒757的成绩成为了首位驾驶亚洲 F3 赛车在雪邦赛道圈速进入2分钟的车手，非常的厉害。那么在第3位的是相信大家也都听说过的 FIA F3 以及澳门 F3 的双冠王丹蒂格图姆。他可以说他在泰国站的运气并不是太佳，他也希望在今天在马来站拿到个人在亚洲冬季赛的首冠。那么我们看今天的比赛到底结果如何，下面交给福利。
Hello and welcome to Sepang International Circuit here in Malaysia for the second round of the Asian Winter Series. Last week in Buriram, Thailand, we saw some exciting action and as well as some surprising results. But before the race starts, let's have a quick catch up of last round's highlight.
Well, some interesting racing last week in Buriram in Thailand and some surprising results. Here we are in Sepang for round 2 of the 2019 Asian Winter Series. You see, we're ready for race 4. Race 5 and 6 to come tomorrow. And you can see the cars all on the starting grid, ready to go there. Rinus VK, the pole sitter, as the cars start the formation lap now. Rinus VK in pole position, the championship leader, having won 2 of the first 3 races, and Ye Yifei, who won the other race, the Chinese driver with the French racing license, alongside him on row 1. On the second row, there should have been Dan Ticktum in 3rd place, but you saw on the starting grid a big gap where Dan Ticktum should have been. So I spoke to Dan Ticktum earlier, and he said he was having trouble with the car. He had problems with the car during qualifying, and I wonder if he's starting from the pit lane. In fourth place, Alessandro Caretti, and in fifth, the Belgian driver Amaury Cordial. In sixth place, number 17, Max Futuro, and he's making his Asian Winter Series debut here this weekend in Sepang. He didn't feature in Buriram. In seventh place, number 29, Akash Nandi, the Malaysian driver, looking for a good result on home soil, and he's partnered on row 4 by number 65, David Schumacher, German driver, son of ex-F1 driver Ralph. And those two completing row 4. Row 5, in ninth place is Ishan Pieres, the Sri Lankan driver who had such rotten luck last time in Buriram, failing to finish 2 of the 3 races. And alongside him is Pavan Ravishankar in 10th position on the grid. In 11th place is Tamaki Takahashi, the Japanese driver, and alongside him, number 7, Vivian Kestay. And these two drivers had a real ding-dong battle in Buriram last week, and obviously in close attendance again on row 6, this time out in Sepang. Row 7 is an all-Japanese row, number 28, Tairoku Yamaguchi, and he's partnered by number 30, the driver who simply goes by the name of Dragon. And already, that's the number 88 car, and that is Amaury Cordial having pulled off. So, bitter disappointment for Amaury Cordial. It doesn't look as if he'll be able to take the start. As we look at the last starter in 15th place, new for this round here in Sepang, Motoyoshi Yoshida. The 3 drivers bringing up the rear of the grid, all competing in the Masters category, and all competing for the BMAX racing team. And in 14th position, Dragon is the owner of that team as well as the driver. So the cars forming on the starting grid now. You see no Dan Ticktum in 3rd place and no Amaury Cordial in 5th place as he pulled off on the formation lap. So a little bit of a gap there, you see, behind pole sitter Rinus VK, the number 21. And I wonder if some of the drivers immediately behind might start to take advantage of that gap and move into it. The red lights are on. And those red lights flashing. And that is an aborted start. So and I'm told that it's a safety car start. So you see the clock at the top of your picture not having begun yet. I think I saw Dan Ticktum's car just at the back of the field there, the Red Bull liveried car. He didn't take his place on the grid, but I think I saw Dan Ticktum just at the back of the picture. So I wonder if Dan Ticktum has just made it round in time to start this race. The car's just weaving this way and that, trying to get some temperature into those tyres and into those brakes. This is an extra formation lap, and you can see the clock at the top of your picture has been revised. This will now be a race over 27 minutes rather than the initially allotted 30 minutes. And the drivers, I'm being reliably informed, will line up on the grid for another standing start. You could see just to the right of your picture there, Amaury Cordial's car being moved away by some heavy machinery, and I suspect that is the reason for this extra formation lap, so they can take that car away nice and safely. So Rinus VK, the Dutch driver, on pole position for this first race of 3 races to take place this weekend. The second and third races here at Sepang to be taken place tomorrow. And you can see there the race director, lots of conversation going on, and there we are, proof, if anyone needed, of the extra formation lap. And there will be another formation lap after this one. You saw the race director there holding out the board. So the drivers will come round, approaching the grid now.
I need to make sure the car is clear, just clear.
And you can hear the race director there saying that he needs to make sure that the car is clear. Amaury Cordial's car, who pulled off on the first formation lap. He needs to make sure that that car is clear before they can start the race. But the car's all lining up on the grid now, and hopefully in a few seconds' time we'll go racing here in Sepang. Rinus VK in pole position on the left, Ye Yifei on the right of your picture. And the green flag being waved in the background, and it looks as if we might be underway. So those lights will go on, the red lights will go on, and when they go off, we'll be racing here in Sepang. And it's a good start from Rinus VK, taking advantage of his pole position. Ye Yifei slotting into second place, and Alessandro Caretti into third. A big gap on the left-hand side because of those cars missing. But as they go through the first turn, it's Rinus VK, Ye Yifei going around the outside, but very difficult to pass there. Rinus VK into the lead, Ye Yifei in second place, and Alessandro Caretti into third. And it did look to me as if Dan Tichtum managed to take the start. I could see that Red Bull livery car in the background, or one that looked quite like it. But as they go through turn 4, Rinus VK, but Ye Yifei climbing all over the back of him, the Chinese driver clearly impatient and looking for a way through as they go through this infield section. Alessandro Caretti in third place, looking to challenge Ye Yifei now, but Rinus VK taking advantage of his pole position and settling into a good lead now as they go through turns 7 and 8, the double apex right-hander. Rinus VK, the number 21, coming through as they approach the hairpin at turn 9, but no one really close enough for a look up the inside just yet. Rinus VK, the number 21 car, still in the lead, and contrary to what I said earlier, it does appear that Dan Tichtum has not taken the start. So Dan Tichtum and Amaury Cordial, both non-starters. So we have a field now of 13 cars for this race 1 here of round 2 of the Asian Winter Series at the Sepang International Circuit. And it's Rinus VK starting from pole position and starting as he means to go on as they go down this long back straight, approaching the tight hairpin, hard braking into this left-hander. Ye Yifei still in second place and Alessandro Caretti in third, but close behind the Chinese driver. Rinus VK coming through to start lap 2. And all the cars there in your picture. Ye Yifei in second place, Alessandro Caretti in third. Ye Yifei going to the inside of turn 1, and he's got to be careful he doesn't compromise his exit because Alessandro Caretti is just behind him and very eager to make an impression. I spoke to Alessandro earlier just after qualifying. He wasn't too happy with how he performed, only 4th on the grid, but he was itching to make up for what was a very mixed time last time out in Buriram. He proved himself to be very quick, but also had a problem and retired from race 3 when he was looking very quick indeed in the early stages of that race. So Alessandro Caretti with a lot to prove so far. And Ye Yifei going wide there. He's got to be a bit careful he doesn't do that too often. And I wonder if that means Alessandro Caretti is going to be close enough. But it looks as if Ye Yifei has lived to fight another day in second place. Rinus VK still in the lead. Ye Yifei in second place. Here we see again the replay. Ye Yifei just goes a little wide, but that doesn't cost him too much. Just a bit of rallycross there on the AstroTurf and back onto the track. And there he is, still in second place, and that trip across the Astro doesn't appear to have done his car any harm at all. Still managing to keep Alessandro Caretti at bay. 23 minutes to go in this race 1 here at Sepang. And the field starting to spread out now. And definitely worth a mention is number 81, Tamaki Takahashi, who's made it up into 4th place. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. There he is in your picture there. And he's up from 11th position on the grid. So a great start further down the field from Tamaki Takahashi, the Japanese driver. But Rinus VK just set a new fastest lap of the race as he starts lap 3, a 2 minutes 2.4. Ye Yifei just 1 second behind, and some close racing at the back there, and that is the number 28 car of Tairoku Yamaguchi and his fellow countryman Dragon going side by side there. It looks as if one of the interesting things about this turn 1-2 complex is if you have someone up the inside of turn 1, then they can just as easily get inside you in turn 2, because it goes from a tight right-hander very quickly to a tight left-hander. The two Japanese drivers going at it, hammer and tongs here as they go up to turn 4, but it looks as if Yamaguchi has just held it. Some good racing further down the field, these two drivers in the Masters category, clearly enjoying themselves further down the field. 21 minutes and 44 seconds to go in this race 1 here at Sepang. Still Rinus VeeKay in the lead, Ye Yifei in second place, and Alessandro Caretti rounding out the top 3. And bitter disappointment for Dan Ticktum, the series favourite, who was a 2-time winner of the very prestigious Macau Grand Prix. Before the races at Buriram last weekend in Thailand, it was widely assumed that he would win this fairly comfortably, but he's certainly not had it all his own way. He was very critical of his own performance last weekend in Buriram, said it was a disaster and it was not where he should be finishing, and he's currently only in 6th position in the championship standings. Rinus VeeKay, the current race leader, with a handsome lead so far after 2 race wins and a 3rd place in Thailand, and he was very happy indeed when I spoke to him after qualifying today. Still making good use of his pole position. As we look at some of the drivers further down the field, that's the 81 car of Takahashi going through, Akash Nandi, the local boy, in 5th position now, and Ishan Perez, the number 15 car, up into 6th place. And he had a very disappointing time of it last time out, where he retired from 2 of the 3 races in Buriram, but Ishan Perez clearly glad to get some track time under his belt. And further down the field, it's not been a good day for another of the British drivers, Max Futuro, who was making his Asian Winter Series debut here this weekend in Sepang. He has pulled into the pits, and it looks as if his race is run as well. So another disappointing race there for Max Futuro, not how he would have wanted his Asian Winter Series campaign to begin. But one man who certainly is starting as he means to go on is Rinus VeeKay, the number 21 that you see in your picture now. There he is, to give him his full name of Rinus van Kalmthout. He competes in the United States, where his name obviously considered a bit of a mouthful, and he prefers to go simply by Rinus VeeKay. Ye Yifei there, the Chinese driver with the French racing license, in 2nd position. Had a little bit of a wobble earlier where he ran wide, but seems to have recovered. And the top 3, there we are, covered by just under 3 seconds. Alessandro Caretti in the number 1 car there, recently celebrating his 17th birthday. The 2nd youngest driver in the field after Belgian driver Amaury Cordial. And he's currently in 3rd position. In 4th position, number 81, Tamaki Takahashi, the Japanese driver. There he is, driving for the Super License racing team. Just behind him, in 5th place, the number 29 car of Akash Nandi, the Malaysian driver. There he is, in his home circuit. A bit of smoke there. I wonder if that was Takahashi going a bit wide, but it seems as though he made the corner. Just a little bit of tyre smoke. Perhaps he locked up, snatched at his front brakes a little bit too much, and he wants to be careful that he doesn't want to do that too often. He doesn't want to flat spot those tyres, because that's going to make it very difficult to handle that car. But he seems to be okay at the moment, still in 4th place. There you are looking at 5th place man Akash Nandi, the local boy. And just behind him, in 6th position, is the number 15 car of Ishan Perez, the Sri Lankan driver in the Absolute Racing car. There he is. Ishan Perez, who unfortunately for him we didn't see a great deal of last time out in Buriram. Had rotten luck, failed even to take the start in one race and then retired from another. So it's nice to see Ishan Perez get some mileage in the Asian Winter Series here at Sepang. 17.5 minutes still to go. And still Rinus VK in the lead after having completed 4 laps of this Sepang International Circuit. Getting a little bit dark now. And I wonder if that late afternoon, early evening sunshine might start to trouble some of the drivers, because with the sun so low in the sky it can cause a bit of problems with glare. There we are, looking at the number 7 of Vivienne Castay, currently in 9th position, very much finding her feet in single-seaters. Last time out in Buriram was the first time that she'd raced single-seaters, and really this series all about her gaining experience. She's only ever previously driven GT cars and tin tops, and single-seaters a very different kettle of fish. But Vivienne Castay still in the race, still in 9th position, and gaining some good experience on some of the very best racetracks in the world. This Sepang International Circuit, a fantastic facility, 19 times hosted the Formula 1 Malaysian Grand Prix, and designed by the renowned German architect Hermann Tilke, who designed Shanghai, Bahrain, the Circuit of the Americas, and so many of the modern tracks that you see in Formula 1 and many other top racing series today. This Sepang International Circuit, really a state-of-the-art facility, and a good challenge for all the drivers, something for everyone. Some tight hairpin bends, some long sweeping left and right-handers, long straights, plenty of overtaking opportunities, and a nice wide racetrack as well. You often see some racetracks very narrow and it's very difficult to pass. Not so this Sepang International Circuit, very wide, and these cars, as you can see, quite a bit smaller than the single-seaters that you might expect to see in Formula 1, for example. So even more space to pass and repass. We've seen some good close racing. There we are, looking at number 28. That is Tairoku Yamaguchi in 10th position. And here we see Rinus VK, the Dutch driver, having started from pole position and having led every lap so far, looking very comfortable indeed. He goes through the last corner, the hairpin bend there. That's a favourite of many drivers. Lots of opportunities for overtaking there. Rinus VK crosses the line to start lap 7 of this race 1 here at Sepang. Ye Yifei keeping him honest, 1.7 seconds behind, and Alessandro Caretti a further 2.5 seconds adrift of Ye Yifei, still in 3rd position. You can see the sun very low indeed there, and not too much daylight left here at Sepang, but thankfully for the drivers only 14 more minutes of racing, and there should be enough to see this race through. Rinus VK going through turn 4 there, the right-hander. Ye Yifei still behind him. And Alessandro Caretti following through in 3rd place as they go through turns 5 and 6 here at Sepang. Further down the field, there's David Schumacher, the German driver, in 7th place. We haven't seen too much of him so far this race, but there he is in 7th place, just ahead of the number 2 car of Pavan Ravishankar. And David Schumacher made some useful points last time out in Buriram. He sits in 4th place, or equal 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship with 31 points. And some very useful overtaking manoeuvres by David Schumacher last time out in Buriram, managing to get his way up to 3rd position from 9th on the grid in one of the races. And no doubt showing the racecraft that his father Ralph, the former Formula 1 driver, would be very proud of indeed. There is the number 13 car of Motoyoshi Yoshida making his debut here this weekend in the Asian Winter Series, another entrant in the Masters category, racing for the BMAX racing team that is owned by Dragon, the number 30. And Yoshida currently running in 12th place and bringing up the rear. Amaury Cordeel we saw pull off on the formation lap, and Dan Ticktum, unfortunately for him, didn't manage to take the start. And Max Futuro, the other British driver in the high-tech racing team, unfortunately for him, failing to complete the first lap. So another terminal problem there. So 12 runners of the 15 who took part in the qualifying session earlier today. Rinus VeeKay, no such problems for him, still at the front of the field, but not pulling away from Ye Yifei. Ye Yifei still just 1.6 seconds behind, but Rinus VeeKay seems to have enough in hand. He seemed very confident after qualifying when he got pole position. He looked very happy indeed, and he's clearly having a very good time of it over in Asia, here for the Asian Winter Series. He's got a full season in Indy Lights planned for 2019, when that season starts later this year, and he's hoping to have gained enough ranking points for a full-time ride in the IndyCar Series for 2020. Rinus VeeKay competing in the American motorsport ladder, clearly making that decision at an early age to go and ply his trade in America and try and reach the top of American motorsport, rather than taking the more traditional route as somebody from his country Holland might, and going up the FIA single-seaters with a view towards ending up in Formula One. But Rinus VeeKay clearly very happy with his lot, still in first position. Here we see some of the drivers further down the grid. That's Tamaki Takahashi, the 81 car, in 4th place. Behind him, 29, Akash Nandi in 5th. And Ishan Pierres still going in 6th place. Akash Nandi getting close behind Takahashi as they go through the hairpin, but not quite close enough to have a serious look at making a passing move. But Akash Nandi, this is his home race. He's a Malaysian national, and lots of family and friends here to support him and cheer him on, so he'll want to produce an especially good showing here this weekend. We saw Takahashi a couple of laps ago lock up in turn 1, and perhaps Akash Nandi fancies his chances. Maybe he thinks that he can pressurize Takahashi into making a little bit of a mistake, maybe locking a wheel or locking his brakes and running wide, and maybe he can then succeed in going through and taking that 4th place from the Japanese driver. Just having a little look there as they go through turn 4, and again Takahashi locking his brakes, so perhaps the Japanese driver feeling the pressure, and it looks as if Akash Nandi just got better drive out of that corner there. You can see him much closer to the back of the Japanese driver as they go through turn 6, approaching the double apex at turn 7. Takahashi going a little wide, but no harm done there, and it looks as if Takahashi lives to fight another day as they go through turn 8. Akash Nandi a little bit too far behind. You often see drivers, even if they're a little bit too far behind to make a move, you'll see them just moving to the inside, not really committing to a move, but perhaps just weaving a little bit, letting the other driver know that they're there, trying to pressurize the other driver into making a little bit of a mistake. It's one thing trying to focus on the road in front of you, but it's doubly difficult to do that when you're trying to keep somebody behind you as well, and looking in your mirrors as well as looking at the road in front of you. But Tamaki Takahashi still in 4th place. Akash Nandi maintaining a watching brief in 5th. Ishan Pierres in 6th. And David Schumacher in 7th. Those 4 cars running line astern now. And when you have 2 cars going for position, as Takahashi and Nandi nearly are, or nearly were a lap ago, you often find that the pack ends up bunching up, because Takahashi will be, instead of trying to take his normal racing line, he'll be going defensive, taking the inside line so as to cover off any move that Nandi might make, but in doing so, that will then compromise his exit and his racing line, and he'll end up driving more slowly. So when you have 2 cars fighting it out for position, what you often find is that the cars behind them end up closing up, because those 2 cars end up going more slowly than they would if they had a clear track ahead of them. And I wonder if we might see these 4 cars all racing line astern soon. It's not quite a 4-way battle for position just yet, But Akash Nandi is doing his best to keep Tamaki Takahashi honest. Japanese driver already locked up a couple of times, and Akash Nandi perhaps smelling blood a little bit here. Ishan Perez still in 6th place, and David Schumacher still in 7th place. 7.5 minutes to go in this race 1 here at the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia, around about 1 hour from the capital, Kuala Lumpur. And a little bit cooler now, the sun is setting, than it was in midday. It's never nice to be here in the midday heat. It's hot and humid, but a little bit cooler now. And David Schumacher getting a little bit of a slide on there as he goes through turn 5 and turn 6. Meanwhile, at the front, Rinus VK still in the lead with a 1.9 second advantage over Ye Yifei in 2nd place. And Alessandro Caretti in 3rd, just dropped back a little bit. He's now 4.3 seconds behind Ye Yifei, 8.6 ahead of Tamaki Takahashi in 4th. But Rinus VK going through now to start lap 11. Ye Yifei losing a little bit of time in the 2nd portion of that lap, now 2.2 seconds behind. Alessandro Caretti a further 5 seconds behind Ye Yifei. So the top 3, very much as they were from the outset of this race. Rinus VK getting a good start from his pole position, and Ye Yifei never really close enough to make a concerted challenge and go for the lead. But the Chinese driver, after surviving a little bit of a scare when he ran wide and had a little bit of a rallycross moment earlier in the race, doesn't seem to have affected his performance, and he's certainly doing more than enough to stay in 2nd place and keep Alessandro Caretti, the French driver who recently celebrated his 17th birthday, to keep Alessandro Caretti at bay in 3rd place. Still Rinus VK in the lead, Ye Yifei in 2nd position, and these two drivers also the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship after 3 races that we had in Buriram last week. Rinus VK leading the way with 65 points. Ye Yifei in 2nd place with 43. And in joint 3rd place, we have Pavan Ravishankar and David Schumacher with 31 points. There's Alessandro Caretti, currently in 3rd position, having a rather lonely race at the moment. 5 points behind 5 seconds, I should say, behind Ye Yifei, but nearly 10 seconds ahead of Tamaki Takahashi, who is in 4th position. So Alessandro Caretti there on the long back straight, and I should think he'll be pleased that he's managing, it would appear, to have a full race distance under his belt. He, unfortunately for him, retired very early on in race 3 at Buriram on the 1st lap, and he had shown a good turn of speed in the earlier races last weekend. But it looks as if, barring any mechanical pitfalls, it looks as if Alessandro Caretti is on his way to a solid 3rd place. He's dropped back a little bit, and Akash Nandi there, a little bit of close racing there, a little bit of a lock-up. Looks as if Akash Nandi's fallen back a bit into the clutches of Ishan Perez, who is in 6th position. Tamaki Takahashi now with a 1.5 second lead over Akash Nandi, with Ishan Perez in 6th position. Those 4 there, Takahashi, Nandi, Perez and Schumacher, all running in fairly close attendance. David Schumacher bringing up the rear in 7th position there. There you see the orange and black car. And David's father, Ralph, a constant fixture on this Asian Winter Series, always ready and willing to impart advice. Obviously, this is a track that he will have driven on many times in his Formula One career. He drove in Formula One between 1997 and 2006, and the Malaysian Grand Prix on the calendar for every year bar 2 of those. So Ralf Schumacher certainly driven around this Sepang International Circuit a lot. Further down the field, we're now looking at Vivian Castay, the Hungarian driver, and she's in 9th place. Very much learning her trade in single-seaters. Meanwhile, at the sharp end of the field, it's still Rinus VK in the lead. Ye Fei now 2.9 seconds off the Dutchman. And Alessandro Caretti still in 3rd place. You just see him at the back of your picture there. And Rinus VK has driven a pretty serene race here in the first race of 3 to be held at the Sepang International Circuit this weekend. And he'll be very happy, I would think, to take home 25 points for winning, which will only add to his 22-point lead that he currently has over Ye Fei, who will collect 18 points if he finishes in his current 2nd position, with Alessandro Caretti to receive 15 points for his troubles in 3rd place. Rinus VK 3.2 seconds now ahead of Ye Fei, and the Dutchman also having set the fastest lap of the race so far, a 2 minutes 2 seconds .092. So he's well on his way to the Grand Slam here of pole position, fastest lap, race win, and leading every lap. So a dominant opening performance from Rinus VK, clearly laying down a marker for the rest of this weekend, and indeed the rest of this Asian Winter Series, because we'll be back here at Sepang in about a month's time for round 3, the final round of the Asian Winter Series, and that'll be 3 more races. 3 rounds in this Asian Winter Series. We had the first round in Buriram last weekend. This is the 2nd round here in Sepang, and then we'll be returning to Sepang in a month's time, each round consisting of 3 races. So 9 races altogether in this 2019 Asian Winter Series. You see the last lap board there. Rinus VK just going through to start the last lap. And it's been a very, very convincing performance indeed from the Dutch driver. He's dealt with this with minimal of fuss. Further down the field, we've seen some close racing. There you see the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th battle between Takahashi, Nandi, Perez and Schumacher, all going through to start their last lap of the race. But it doesn't look, unless somebody makes a mistake, I can't see how there would be any change in position as we go into this final lap. Rinus VK going through turn 5 and 6 and approaching the double apex right-hander at 7 and 8. There he goes. A short squirt on the power now. You see him going wide to take his racing line for turn 9. Hard braking here, potentially an overtaking opportunity if you can get close enough to your opponent out of turn 8 and then out brake into turn 9. Now another sweeping section, turns 10 and 11. A short squirt on the power for turn 12, the left-hander. And turn 13, the long double apex right-hander that turns into this, turn 14, is tight right-hander. And now onto the back straight, one of 2 very long straights here at Sepang. David Schumacher, or Rinus VK, beg your pardon, coming up and may just lap Motoyoshi Yoshida, the number 13 car, bringing up the rear. The Japanese driver going to the left-hand side of the track as Rinus VK crosses the line to win race 1 here at Sepang. He lifts his arm in delight. Ye Fei coming through in 2nd position, and Alessandro Caretti will come through. There he is in 3rd place. So the top 3 finishing as they were in the first lap. Tamaki Takahashi there finishing in 4th place, Akash Nandi 5th, Ishan Perez 6th, and David Schumacher, close but no cigar, in 7th place. Just half a second behind Ishan Perez, David Schumacher was at the end, but Unfortunately, not close enough to make a move. There you see the race winner, Rinus VeeKay. His third win in 4 races so far, and he's really firmly taking a strong grip on this 2019 Asian Winter Series. Ye Yifei, the Chinese driver, in second position. There he is, in the Absolute Racing car. Don't be fooled by the France designation there. Ye Yifei is Chinese, but his racing license is French, and so, according to the letter of the law, that is how he is known in racing. Rinus VeeKay, the number 21, a very, very convincing win. Never really looked truly threatened. And he comes down on this slow down lap now. And I should think he'll be pleased as punch with his afternoon's work. Couldn't really have gone much better. Pole position, fastest lap, and leading every lap of this race here at Sepang. Certainly starting to get a little dark now, and the sun very much going in, and we're starting to lose the light here at Sepang, so this is around about the time, well, this is around about the cut-off point for watching racing. You can see there on the left-hand side of the screen, just as Rinus VeeKay goes past, you can see all those what look like marbles on the side of the track, and that is little pieces of rubber that get thrown off from the tyre as the tyres pound around the track lap by lap. Little bits of rubber get thrown off onto the dirt, what's called the dirty side of the track, where the drivers tend to avoid because it's much more convenient to drive on the racing line. There's much more grip, and you don't want to get those so-called marbles on your tyres in the middle of the race. But Rinus VeeKay there, taking his place as the race winner, and you can see those glorified leaf blowers going into the side of his car, and that's to cool the car down. It is still fairly hot here in Sepang, and every time those cars come in, the mechanics rush to put those leaf blowers in. Rinus VeeKay clearly enjoying himself there, as well he might. And he's been a very happy man so far in this Asian Winter Series. It's all gone right for him. There we are, seeing him take the adulation. Our family, friends, teammates, mechanics. There's Ye Yifei, the second place man, and I should think he'll be pleased with his afternoon's work as well. Second place, certainly a very good achievement, as we wait for Rinus VeeKay to get out of his helmet and compose himself, and hopefully we'll be hearing from him in the near future. You can see the 3 cars there, the top 3, all taking their place in Parc Fermé. And mechanics, engineers, photographers and well-wishers all milling around. Alessandro Caretti in third place, on the left there, obscured by several of the waiting mechanics and spectators. There you see Ye Yifei having a quick debrief with some of his team members. And let's go down and hear from race winner Rinus VeeKay now.
Rinus, congratulations, third win of the season, and you seem very confident of the race.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a good race. Car was really consistent, and I think the team really gave me a car to stay consistent and drive away in the end. And I had a good start. Yeah, I think I was gone better than Yifei. And then it was quite close at the first 2 corners. then I managed to pull a gap and stay away for the rest of the race. So really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
刚刚我问到Reynolds 呢，他这场比赛看起来，因为这是他的第3次的获胜，在这个赛季。那么他自己呢也是提到刚刚他的起步呢比叶一飞好一点，所以呢，而且呢他一直也是保持了和后车的距离，所以说呢一直保持着领先的优势，最后拿到了冠军。而且他也非常感谢的技师给他一辆非常优秀的车，让他的驾驶也非常的平稳。
Well, Rinus VeeKay understandably very happy with his afternoon's work, and interesting to hear him pay tribute to his team and the fact that he felt that his car was set up exactly as he wanted it. We've had a lot of the drivers comment that the cars are quite heavy to drive, but Rinus VeeKay certainly seems to have found the sweet spot with his car. And now let's go down and hear from Feline again, and she's with second place man Ye Yifei.
叶一飞，那么你之前呢也是在练习赛的中拿到了2分之内的一个非常好的成绩。那么今天的比赛却拿到了第2名，也是很不错的。你的驾驶也非常的平稳，那你对你自己的表现怎么评价呢？
今天早上其实我们对车的整个调教非常满意，但是排位赛的时候我们遇到了一些车的问题，比赛的时候也有些问题还没有完全解决，所以很遗憾排位赛没有跑出好成绩，然后比赛因为也受这个方向的影响，跟不上前车，最后锐来锐染。我在比赛中刚开始尝试激进驾驶来追进前车，但是跟了2-3圈之后就轮胎过热之后，最终就锐来锐染。所以我想明天应该，今天晚上我们要想办法去研究为什么车的问题是这样子的，要在明天比赛之前解决。我相信明天比赛我们会很有信心的。
好，加油！I just asked Ye Yifei, because during the practice section he got very fast. He raced within 2 minutes. And what happened during this race? And he answered me. He said, during the qualifying section, he got some technical problem, but the problem didn't fix until the race. They will try tonight and try to fix the car and hopefully for a better result for tomorrow.
Yes, and interesting to hear Ye Yifei make reference to his practice time earlier this weekend. He drove a very, very quick time indeed and broke the 2-minute barrier, which we haven't actually seen in the Asian Winter Series in any session so far, not in this race or not in either of the qualifying rounds that we've had so far. Rinus VeeKay was on pole position, and now let's go down and hear from third place man Alessandro Caretti.
Hi, Alexander. Congratulations, and also happy birthday to you. Yesterday was your birthday, right? And it seems like it's a good birthday gift to you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it was a good race for me. I finished P3. I was started P4, and in the end I have managed to save my tire. So yeah, it was a good race for me.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. 那刚刚呢，因为昨天呢刚好是 Alexander 的生日，那么呢他这个其实也是一个非常好的生日礼物。他也提到呢，今天呢他也是力战群雄，和其他的非常优秀的车手呢一起比赛当中呢也是保持了非常稳定的发挥，保持了这个轮胎的稳定性，所以呢今天拿到了第3名的好成绩。Back to commentators.
Well, Alessandro Caretti certainly a good deal happier after the race than he was when I spoke to him after qualifying, when he wasn't too happy. And he's now, as Feline mentioned, 17 years old, which makes me feel very old indeed. Let's have a look at some of the best action from race 1. A lot of the light here at the Sepang International Circuit. But the drivers are still ready to celebrate on the podium. And we'll be joining them there just now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now having the podium ceremony for 2019 Asia Winter Series Race 4. Let's welcome our winners onto the podium. Winner of the race, car number 21, from High Tech Grand Prix, Renault Wikai. Second place, car number 16, from Absolute Racing. Third place, car number 1, from High Tech Grand Prix, Alessandro Caretti. Now it's my honor to invite Mr. Mark Chu, manager of GT10 RC Motorsport, to present the trophy to the winners. Judges, time for shopping time! Master Cup. Winner of Master Cup. Car number 28 from BMAX Racing Team, Chayuki Yamaguchi. Second place, car number 30 from BMAX Racing Team, Dragon. Third place, car number 13 from BMAX Racing Team as well, Motoyoshi Yoshida. Now let's invite Mr. David Gobi, General Manager of Top Team Shanghai Limited, to present the trophy to the winners. Now it's time for the photo.
All right, welcome to the press conference for the Asian Winter Series, round 2, race 1. First of all, congratulations to all three of you. I'd like to start with you, Rinus. Congratulations with first place, leading from pole to finish. And leading from pole to finish. And I saw Yife was coming alongside you and into turn 1. What was your strategy to defend and keep him behind you?
Yeah, I had a good. Hello? Hello? Oh, okay. I had a good start, or similar to Yife, and I knew he was going to go quite deep into turn 1, and I got the whole inside, so he was going to go outside, and yeah, I knew he was going to try to go with me and be on the inside for turn 2, and that was what I had to try to stop and be single file through turn 2, and that worked. And then in turn 5 and 6 he got a, well, of course, dirty air, which made a gap for me, and since then I could just go and have my own race.
All right, very good. Another question. I noticed that you were going quite fast, and actually faster and faster also towards the end of the race. I think you set your fastest lap in the last lap. What was it? Your tires were still performing, or why were you able to go still going faster?
Yeah, it got quite a lot colder throughout the race, and the fuel, of course, gets less, so it was more advantage from the weather and the weight instead of the disadvantage from the tires going down. But the car stayed really consistent, and I want to thank the team for giving me a great car to be able to push throughout the whole race, and yeah, I think that was the biggest thing.
All right, very good. Yife, congratulations with second place. You managed to pull alongside and did very well, tried very hard. And I saw you managed to stay very close at the beginning. Well, actually for the first 10 laps, within 1.5 seconds. But towards the end, I saw you were losing about half a second a lap. What happened? Were you trying to slow down and try to get the fastest lap?
Well, the whole thing starts from qualifying, where after the practice we couldn't cope with the car. There was some problem which we have to fix for the upcoming races, and so that's why I have to start from second. And in the beginning I really tried to push hard to make a attempt for an overtake, but coming to turn 1 I couldn't make it, and in turn 3 it was also close. After first 2-3 laps I was trying really hard to stay with Rinus, and also try to push for a good lap for the second race, great position. And then I think I was pushing too much and I overheated my tires, so towards the end of the race I lost tire performance, so I dropped off quite significantly to Rinus, and I think it was not an ideal race.
All right, okay, thank you. Alessandro, congrats with third. You've done quite a few races on this track with Formula 4 as well. What is the main difference car-wise between F4 and F3?
It's a really big difference, because the F3, I think it's maybe 12 seconds faster on his track. So yeah, the big difference, it's the engine first, and also the chassis. It's really different.
Okay, thank you. And how was your race? Did you have a good race?
My race was good. I was started P4, and I finished P3. In the end, I had tried to follow the guys in front of me, but in the end I see it was impossible, so I have tried to save my tire for the other race.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome to the press conference of the Masters class for round 2, race 1. Taroko, congratulations with your win in the Masters class. Can you tell us about your race?
Thank you very much. I was looking forward to this Winter Cup Series. とても今日はタフなレースで、ドラゴン選手と接近戦ってことで、でも、レースはすごく楽しめたんで、あと BMAX レーシングで、表彰台全員立てて、すごい嬉しいです。明日も頑張ります。
So for me, today's race was quite tough, but because early stage of the race, I was quite big fighting with the dragon. So, but I could definitely enjoy the race, and then I'm really happy that finally all BMAX 3 drivers, got podium. Yeah, it was great.
Dragon, congratulations with the second place. How is it racing in Sepang and coping with the heat? What is your general strategy?
おめでとうございます。今日のレースはどうでしたか。また今日のレースに、作戦はどんな作戦で臨みましたか。
今日は選手に離されないようにっていうのを自分のテーマにしていて、まだこの車の乗り方がまだいまいち理解できていなくて、日本の F3 のようなですね乗り方ができてないので、でも今のレースでだいぶ勘をつかんだという感じなので、明日のレースも楽しみにしています。
Yeah, today's race, I was really trying to follow the Tairoku, not to, stay behind the Tairoku as close as possible. But I still not really used to drive this car. Quite a big difference compared to the Japanese Formula 3. But through this race, I maybe have found out something. I catch up something to drive this car. So maybe tomorrow race I look forward.
Motoyoshi, congratulations with third place. This is your first race event with the new Formula 3 car. Can you tell us about your experience and how did you enjoy it?
日本で7年間 S3 に乗ってたので、非常に今回その新しい S3 に興味を持って体験したくて乗りに来ました。非常に楽しく走れたんですけど、まだまだレースできるようなタイムが出ないので、また次回のレースのまでにちょっとトレーニングしてダイエットして頑張りたいと思います。
Yeah, I drove the Japanese Formula 3 last 7 years, so that I came here to drive the new car for me. It was really looking forward to come here. But still my lap time is quite a bit far to follow and fight with these two guys, I will try to fit and training and also try to make a bit more diet, for the next event. So I keep pushing.
Very good. Thank you very much. Group photo.